Hello guys, it's Patryk here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yes, I am back after 1 month, after all these technical difficulties that I have encountered, after all my schoolwork that I also have encountered, and I tamed that beast and I did everything at my best. I'm back with my new hard drive, my new Windows, and all of my new applications again. Well, not all of them. I've got the base ones installed. I kind of lost like 500 gigabytes of games, so my Steam library is quite empty now, but oh well. Let's fire up Max. And I upgraded to 2014, as you can probably see. If you're at 2013, you can still follow this video. If you're at any, well, actually if you're in any Autodesk 3ds Max video, you can still follow this. Okay, today, the material editor, texturing and unwrapping an object. I am not going to go with the Slate material editor in this video because it's something that I don't use. I don't find this useful at all. I might make a video about it later on, but I'm not too sure about that. So there we go. Let me make a box and a plane. There we go. So I made a box and a plane. I'm going to now get our material editor open. So to get a material editor open, you either can click on material editor or you can hit M on your keyboard. Now by default your material editor will look like this, the Slate material editor, and as I said, I'm not gonna get into this too much because, well, at all, I really don't like this to be honest. So if you open this and you want to go back to compact material editor, you click on modes and you click compact. And from now on, every time you open a material editor, it's going to be compact, even if you restart Max. Alright, so for this I'm going to get rid of the segments, plane segments, sorry, I don't even know what I said. I'm going to select all of both objects, so the plane and the box. I'm going to make them black colored, and I'm going to apply the first orb to them. It's going to make them nicely visible, consistent color with beautiful black borders. I apologize, I can't speak today either. Alright, let's start off with understanding how a material editor works. So by selecting an object, the object has been selected in active viewport, and therefore whatever you apply a texture to it, it changes magically itself. So let's say that we want to adjust the box first, and we want to make it a bit brighter. So we can click on the diffuse color, gray color over here, and we can adjust it a little bit. So I want it a bit whiter, and as you can see, everything has been adjusted, and that's because we also selected the plane when we clicked on the first orb. Now, if we want to make the plane on the bottom be in a different color, we want to click on a different orb, and we want to assign a material to it, and therefore it changes its color. Now, if we were to change the orb now, sorry, the box, it's not going to affect the actual plane, and if we were to change the plane, it's not going to affect the box, like so. So this is the simplest way of using the material editor. Right. First things first, if you want to be using this material editor for a longer time, which I really recommend doing, you want to right click on any of those orbs and you want to click 6x4 sample windows. There you go. Therefore you've got from 1 to 24 materials. Now in Slate material editor, the material editor starts from 25. So you can carry on making some materials in a material editor, and then if you need more, you want to go to your Slate editor and do the rest of the materials over there, which is all of the same principle, it just has nice graphics to it. Better than this. So there we go. If you have problems seeing one of those orbs, you can make it a bit bigger and bigger, but then you just have to use those sort of sliders on the bottom and on the right hand of your windows over here. So there you go. I'm just gonna leave it as it is right now. So we've got a first orb, which is my box, and you've got the second orb, which is my floor. Now I can do many things to it over here, so let me explain how it actually works by playing around with this box over here material. So first of all, you can see you've got a bunch of icons over here. You've got like the transparency, you've got your material, you know, sort of the main geometry for it. So in this case I've got my orb, but I can change it to a square or cylinder. And basically this is all for you just to visualize how the material is going to look like. Now the second icon is your backlight, so you can turn it off or on, and this is basically just gonna give you an idea of how it's gonna look like with no light behind the object. You've got your background, which is your transparency. You've got your UV tiling, so you can do that later on, and you can play with all of the sort of icons with like options and select my material whatsoever. On the bottom you've got just few icons that you should actually be really comfortable using. You've got the get material, which opens some sort of window, and then you can choose materials from that. You've got your assign material to selection, which is something that we've been using, and that assigns the material to something that's selected in your viewport. You've got your reset map or material to default settings, and this is something that you want to use if you are not planning anymore to use this material. You've got your make material copy, quite self-explanatory. You've got make it unique, and that's later on in once you're using stat maps and whatsoever. You can put it into library to save this material. Material ID channel, this is for sort of CGI use. You've got your show end result, and you've got your go to parent and go forward to stiplet, and I'm going to explain those buttons in a bit. You've got your standard button, which basically, well, every orb is called standard. That's the basic material you can get, but I also got stuff like ray trace or multi-sap object, architectural blend, composite, whatsoever. But in this video we are going to just be caring about the standard material. Alright, I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna show you something else. You've got your shader basic parameters, and they change the way light reflects and the actual sorry, material works. So at basics you've got it set to blend. You can change it to Fong and multi-layer and metal whatsoever really. Now I have to open all of them by hand because I accidentally closed them. There we go. You've got your ambient, diffuse and specular colors. You've got your self-illumination, your wire. So this basically gives out the wireframe of your object. Very neat. You've got your face maps, your two-sided. So this is for objects that might have some problems with one-sided polygons. So just for the sake, you can check two-sided if you want it to be constant color everywhere and you just want to avoid some imperfections. So it's like a quick way of doing this. We're not gonna go to super sampling or extended parameters. Alright, you've got your opacity, which is also self-explanatory, as you can see, opacity. You've got your self-illumination, basically how much the object illuminates itself. It's like a fake light. You've got your specular highlights, which is making it shiny and you know, sort of how the light is going to reflect from it. I'm going to set it to 0. And you've got your maps. There we go, maps are quite important. So you can change it so a diffuse color is not, you know, just a color, but it's also a texture. And this is where you go to the next part of this video, which is the textures. So once I clicked on none right next to the diffuse color, as you can see here, it gives me a material/map browser. Now if I can click on bitmap will actually allow me to choose a image from my computer. So I made this pattern, which is called UVW pattern, and I'm going to open it. I'm going to assign it to this box if it lets me assign it, and I can now click show shaded material in viewport in order to actually see it. Now, so as you can see here on the cube, it looks pretty decent, right? You've got like a nice checker pattern and it all fits nicely and blah blah blah. But well, the point of this is that I wanted to have this sort of light, say for example this light shaded box on the front, and then the dark shaded sort of on the sides, and you know, basically like a checker pattern on the actual box itself. Now, and to do that we need to do something called UVW Unwrapping. Now just before we get to that, there's also some coordinates and parameters you can play around in here, such as your offset and tiling. So you can do 2 by 2. There we go. So that doubles the texture. Or you can do 0.5 by 0.5. There we go. Or you can do 0.25 by 0.25. Well, that doesn't really work, does it? So there we go. 0.5, 0.5. So, we really don't want to do this. We want to leave it at 1. We don't want to play with any settings. You can click View Image to actually see how your image looks like in its full potential. As you can see here, is just something I threw up very quickly in Photoshop. Each of them little boxes are 256 by 256 pixels. So this is a 1K texture. What we can do now is we can either reload it, we can change the bitmap. So this is all sort of things that if something doesn't load properly after you update it, you can click reload to, you know, to kind of update the object. Now, the next is something that's a lot of people find a pain when it comes to modeling. We want to click on this box, and in the modifier list, in the modify tab, we want to go to click U and select the Unwrap UVW map. So the Unwrap UVW. We want to click on Open UV Editor, and it opens this another grid. We can now close the material editor. We're gonna move the box a bit further away, and we're gonna work with this pretty much. Now, what we want to do first, and check a pattern, we want to click it and select map #1. There we go. Now we can select the polygon select, and every time we select a polygon, something here gets selected. Now, since all of the faces are identical, it's not gonna give you much selection, right? So we want to click on disable the ignore back facing and select every single polygon in our object. You know, you can also do this by just dragging over here in this actual grid view over here from the top to the bottom, covering the entire texture. There we go, and that makes the entire object selected. Now, there's few ways you can unwrap objects. The basic way is to select the face, and on here you can like make it planar, and you can, you know, choose the actual proper alignment. So for this face is gonna be Y, and then you can uncheck the planar map, and then you can move this out, and that's going to fit perfectly to the actual little square. And then you can do this for all of the faces, or you can just and guys, this is something for very basic models. You can select everything and click this button over here, which is flatten by polygon angle. There we go, and everything has been unwrapped for you magically. Now, it's not a perfect unwrap, and you know, it's very bad, to be honest. Now, you should not use this technique for anything that's that might be sort of harsh on you or whatsoever, like a sort of bad models, like sort of like very complicated. So I'm gonna mirror this back into here. Now, if I want to select the front face and it's gonna select the actual box that was unwrapped for me, I can now move it somewhere. So I said I want it to be the gray part, the more dark gray part. I can now just resize it, and look at that, it's going to fit perfectly into that spot, as you can see, like so. Now, I want to select the top, and I wanted to make it a bit the whiter, you know, the lighter shade of gray. So I can now keep zooming in and out and use the transform tool over here, free mode tool, sorry, to, if I can find my map now, in order to resize it and make sure that it fits perfectly. Now, let's say that I want my sides to also be kind of dark, so both sides I want them to be dark. Now, the reason I made this little map in Photoshop with this letter F in front, it's not for faked or for my channel reference or whatsoever. It is actually stands for front, and not for front, but it's like a basic sort of a letter that basically shows you the actual how aligned your material is. So if you guys look at this letter right here, and you see, okay, this is how you actually write F on your keyboard, that's how you write F in real life. Well, that means that if I make a map and I make a texture and I paint this side of the texture red and this side of the texture green, then it's gonna reference exactly identical on the box. So this is gonna be green and this is gonna be red. It's not gonna be twisted or left to right, left to right, upside down whatsoever. So it's kind of so it's always very good to make yourself a texture like this. So there we go. You've got those sides unwrapped. You can now unwrap those sides, which is also fairly easy. We just do the exactly same thing over and over again. So this is by far my favorite part of unwrapping and my favorite technique of unwrapping, and is the easiest, and everybody that I shown this technique, they kind of liked it and they were like, yay, show us more. So I was like, there you go, this is the technique that I'm using to unwrap objects myself. Haha. So we've got F everywhere, F's everywhere. And even on the bottom you've got another F for front, of course. Now I don't recommend using like a letter A, because you know if it's the correct alignment on the sort of, if it's horizontal, vertical, and if it's upside down, but you don't know if it's, you know, left, right. So something like P or F or R would do just fine. So there you go, guys. You've got those materials over here. As you can see, only the bottom one is kind of, you know, the other way around, and that's because you know, if we would actually move this object up, actually I can just isolate it. If we would leave the unwrap on the as all the other ones, so if I would select this one and just mirror it to kind of match the lines of all the others, it would be, you know, reversed left to right. And so you have to make sure about that, and this is the great way of using the F pattern that I calculated through in Photoshop. So there we go. I can now just get rid of all this and maybe bring back my plane. Don't tell me. There we go. It hid for some reason from me. Align it nicely back into its place. So there we go, guys. A very short video, I know, but still something for today. I was not really prepared. This was not scripted, but I can definitely, what I will definitely do is that I will upload my UVW pattern that I've got over here to the description in YouTube, so you can download it and use it. As I said, it's 1K, so if you're looking for a 2K file, you can make it yourself quite simply. It's all just in Photoshop. You just make rulers to make a perfect 128 or 256 by 256 checkers. Please don't go crazy with textures. At some points Max doesn't like very high texture files, but it's all good for now. So guys, yeah, once again, thank you so much for stopping by. I once again apologize for not being on for so long, and I am coming back right now. I'm going to try to upload 2 videos a week at least, and plus some of my other vlog videos, such as me working on UDK, Kismet, and you know, trying to learn Maya, and working on Matbooks and maybe After Effects or whatsoever. So I will upload all that, and that should work just fine for us. So thank you so much. Please subscribe, like, comment, or dislike if you dislike this video, and make sure to share it with your friends and whoever you really want to share it with. That would be much appreciated by me. And for now, peace.